The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions. Hello, everyone.
Yep.
Welcome back to another episode of Tokucast Reviews.
Sure is.
Episode number 169.
Ha.
Welcome to our thoughts on Kikaider 01.
Start before we usually do the opening. It exists.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's also very short.
You think so?
Yeah, weirdly enough, it felt very short to me. Like, at least it was only like a minute when pretty much all of the openings are like a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be me, though. It also could just be because of the fact that I kept zoning in and out of this show as I was watching it.
I don't blame you.
I did not like this show.
This show is very zone-outable.
It had... I texted you, and I was like, this show feels like an obligation after doing the first one.
Yeah.
And it felt like there were no improvements.
Like it was created to fill a space.
Yeah, which is weird because of the fact that V3 was also on at the same time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, This is 73. Yeah, this show just wasn't it. It was not the moment. It
was a show of a moment, and I want to get into that a little bit.
I really struggled to remember anything. I remember a lot more from the anime in regards to 01 than I do for this show proper, and I just finished watching it.
So, like, the basic story of Kikaider 01 is
hidden brother.
There was another android. That's who 01 is. Not to be confused with Kamen Rider 01.
Unless you were watching that behind the scenes thing where they brought out in the ZO movie when 01 was up there, they actually brought out so people wouldn't take pictures. They brought out Kikaider 01 and had people say 01.
Oh,
and that's where that scene is from.
Interesting. But, so yeah, there's another android. Kikaider is still doing bad things.
This is the plot of DBZ, like the entire android arc.
There are, like, other Kikaiders out there. He made, like, more of himself. They each have a different weapon that lets them do different things. One of them has, like, Kamen Rider X's, like, staff that he can throw into the air and do gymnastics with. One of them has a whip of some kind or a rope. The other one, I don't know, farts at enemies, whatever he does. And then we have a child character. And I texted you this. So, the plot for at least the first part of the show until the second villain is introduced, and maybe a little bit after that, it's kind of a blur.
When it's just the Kikaider force.
When it's just the Kikaider force, where it's just the Ginyu force, where it's just the androids, whatever you want to call them. What was that I texted you? I said, okay. Kikaider 01 is a show about villains making repeated attempts to remove a child's clothes and the heroes who fight to keep their garments on.
You texted me that, and I'm sitting here like, okay, I would like this to go so I can forget about it and throw it away in a week.
Your exact words were, it's too much para me. And I don't blame you. That is, I am not exaggerating, the plot of the show. Because we later find out that this little kid and also his brother, who we just randomly find out exists, there are plans for some sort of device tattooed onto their bodies, and they have to be, like, lined up and put together to create the plans for this device. And that's, like, the first part of the show is the villains are like, get that child, remove his shirt, take pictures of him. And it's
weird.
It is bizarre. It is creepy AF, and I don't like it.
It's also where they got that part in the Kikaider movie where they, like, implanted that thing into the kid. And that's how they got plans for...
there was a moment in the first episode of the show where I knew it was just like, okay, you have to do something miraculous to recover from whatever it is you were trying to do. But there was a moment... But, like, there was a moment where our hero is, like, looking at the main kid. I forget what his name is, but, like, he's looking at him.
I think it's Akira.
Yeah, I remember right. But he's looking at him.
Or Hiroshi.
That might be the brother? That's the brother.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have nothing to say about this show. Like, yeah, you might have introduced Mari, but who cares?
Who cares is an apt way to put it. But, yeah, there's a scene where the kid, Akira, has like his shirt off, and Kikaider 001 is like looking at him from the back, and he's like internally monologuing to himself about what he thinks he sees like markings on the kid or something, and he's talking to himself about it. But it's like, this is an extended shot of our hero staring at a child with his shirt off while looking at him with like an expression that I would call bemused. He's just kind of looking at him like, like, that's interesting.
The 70s were a lawless place, and they deserve to stay where they are.
There is a reason that shows like Kikaider 01, Zubat, all those like older shows that are not Kamen Rider stay in the past where they are, unless we are doing either a period piece homage or like some sort of Easter egg in a modern show.
Or even, I think because they showed up in I don't know if it was Superhero Tyson, but I know they showed, it was like, might have been the Writer War thing. The 40th anniversary movie. Yeah. I think they might have showed up with that. It was either that or Superhero Tyson.
O's Deno, they show up, I think in the Forza, I think it's in the Forza O's movie. No, not that one. It was
Megamax. Because that was the.
It might have been the O's Wizard movie where Nazuman showed up, because that's the one where it's in the future and
the Forza Wizard one,
where he's a
teacher.
Where he's a teacher now, and Nazuman shows up in that one too. But it's like there's a reason that certain things are abandoned to the past, and that's because they just weren't that good to begin with, and there isn't a lot of value in bringing them back.
Except for Zubat. Zubat was peak. Zubat is comedy, so...
Yeah, but a lot of it was unintentional.
I know.
That dummy flying off of a blowing up ship. Yeah, peak comedy, but it wasn't intended to be as such.
So good.
I looked up some other things that came out around the same time in this like span of a couple years when the show was... Mazinger Z, Osamu Tezuka had Blackjack and Buddha.
Oh,
those manga series. Get a Robo, Cutie Honey. The original Cutie Honey came out then. Kamen Rider, like you said, V3 was around this time. Space Battleship Yamato, you had Leiji Matsumoto pioneering science fiction. Barefoot Gen, the manga started then. Rose of Versailles, the Doraemon anime aired in 1973. Panda Go Panda, starting, the careers, not necessarily starting, but like Isao Takahata, Miyazaki, starting out there. On the big screen, you had Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon. We had Godzilla doing that famous drop kick. You had Jet Jaguar, and also on the big screen, you had Belladonna of Sadness, which is a very, it's not a movie I would recommend for children. Let's just leave it at that, but it's a very good one, very beautiful film.
I got nothing else.
But my point is, it's like, you look at the stuff that came out around the same time.
Yeah.
There are influences from it that you can feel throughout anime and toku today. Whether that's the magical girl genre with things like Cutie Honey, Kamen Rider is still going. Godzilla, I would argue, is better than he's ever been, with -1 in the Monsterverse. Belladonna of Sadness, I think, still holds up today. Osamu Tezuka's works, still endearing. The Metropolis movie from like 2001, I think, is a great movie that I think everyone should see.
But
and then you have
to this show,
getting back to this, and then you have shows like Kikaider, like 01, like Zubat, like any of the other older toku that we've watched, and there's nothing, and it's like you watch them, and it's like this is something very of its time. And I look at what has come since, and I feel nothing from it has carried over.
There's a reason why there was only over 2 of these.
We got that reboot in like 2014 or whatever it was.
That died in a fire.
Yeah, that movie sucked. But
and then we also had
But that's like part of the reason why.
We had Kikaider, which died in a fire. And
I mean,
we had
I liked the Kikaider movie, but
it wasn't bad. But then we also had the anime, which I think is honestly these stories told better. From what I remember, it's been a long time since I've seen them.
Because you look at the anime, you have like the 0091 anime, you have the 009 movie that came out back in like 2015 or 14, whenever it was.
It had a bad ending.
There was also just like other adaptations of Ishinomori's work that have been done as like anime, like retro futurist period pieces of such.
And of course, you're gonna get like homages.
Or homages, yeah,
I mean,
that too.
Zubat exists in Pokemon. I don't know if that's where they got the name, but I'm going to assume yes. Probably not. But even still, it's like it exists, and that's all I really have to say about it. I really cannot recommend this or Kikaider in any capacity.
You can watch it. You can watch an anime parody, and they will parody Kamen Rider. Like you'll see a character reference Kamen Rider, or there will
Sentai shows up,
or a Sentai will show up. Exactly.
Ranger Reject is happening. So I mean, come on.
Yeah. Or we have a show like Love After World Domination, which is like what if Sentai but romantic comedy, something like that. And then you have this, and it's just like we are ignoring things like this for a reason. It's because they were never good to begin with.
You'll see their
and there's nothing to mine from them.
And like a festival episode or something.
Yeah,
and that's usually about.
And someone's dad or grandpa is going to be like, "Oh, I remember that."
And that's where it should stay. Anyway. I get nothing
that's it. That's all we got. The show is dumb. Don't watch it. But join us next time.
Yes,
join us next time for a triple feature of films. We are going to be reviewing the Don Brothers movies. We are reviewing Don Brothers versus Zenkaiger, True Love Hero, and versus Donburis.
Yes.
We are reviewing those three, and then join us for the review after that.
Finally.
For Osama Sentai King Oger. I am very excited to talk about this one.
Have you started it?
I have not started rewatching it yet, but I am shivering with anticipation. One might say.
But yeah, that's it. Don't forget to join us on all the things. Let us know if you've seen Kikaider and Kikaider 01 in the comments below. Let us know what you thought. Do you have thoughts? Did you
Do you have any thoughts in your head whatsoever?
Did you forget it? If so, we don't blame you. But yeah, join us all the things. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.